when I came in to become principal, we're at 10% proficiency in ELA and 6% proficiency in math. The school was in some tough shape. At the time, it was a renewal school. It was on the state focus list. It was on the persistently dangerous list. The enrollment had a precipitous decline. It went from about 1,200 students to under 200 students when I came in. My first staff meeting, I told the staff that we're gonna do one thing at the start of the year really, really well. We're gonna do the word generation curriculum. We're gonna do PD around it. We're gonna do it in every class. We're gonna do it in ELA, in math, in social studies and science. We're gonna do it in gen ed. We're gonna do it in special ed. We're gonna do it in English. We're gonna do it in Spanish.
At the beginning, I felt that it was too much, very overwhelming. But as I started teaching it and the kids were learning new words every week, I was like, I really like this. It's not that hard to do once you start doing it, especially when you see the results with the students.
Because there's kind of synergy across all the main content areas, you do get support from your colleagues, and the kids are being exposed to the words so much that it just kind of makes sense that it can fit into the classroom without being a burden on your already existing curriculum.
When you teach debate well, you're doing reading, you're doing writing, you're doing speaking, you're doing listening, you're doing current events, you're doing civic engagement, you're doing activism, doing social justice. But there's no way we have a huge debate team without integrating it into the school day. I said, if we do this really well, watch what happens at the first debate tournament. We're gonna come back with the big first place trophy.
About 10 years ago, the MSQI, Middle School Quality Initiative out of New York City Department of Education, put together a little competitive debate tournament based on the WordGen topics. The topic's the topic. Everybody has something to bring to the topic, and everybody has an entry point into this, and that's where we grow. We can get everybody involved and engaged in the topic and the discussion and the article and the vocabulary. It gives us a way to get everyone excited. And just at its core, arguing in general gets people excited, gets people interested in what they're doing.
I talk to people and be like, oh, what did you think about this topic? And then it's just another point of view that I get to see. Oh, I didn't think about that.
We've learned to take everybody's opinions and perspectives into part with yours.
So in every class we go to, whether we're in a science class or a social studies class, you'll see that they're making strong claims, they're finding relevant evidence, they're weighing evidence, and they're analyzing evidence.
We cannot allow our commercial companies to keep getting rich by selling us inaccurate data that can have devastating and life-altering impacts on millions of people.
And indeed, we went, we had the biggest team at the tournament, we came back, we won the first place trophy, brought that back, and at that point it was a victory for not just the debate coach, it was a victory for the entire school.
We've made word generation and expanded that with debate a fully inclusive program here. So I mean, we have students who are Ls, who are bilingual, who are IEP students, new arrivals, and everything in between are members of our debate program in some way. And that to me really speaks volumes to just how impactful the program is academically. That any student in our building who wants to engage in debate, we find a place for them to debate and be part of that team.
Everything we do is centered around getting kids excited about their work. The writing serves a purpose. The research serves a purpose. There's a clear end goal. We're gonna have to defend this argument when we get out and to compete against kids from other schools. We're gonna have to defend the work we're doing. It doesn't just go on the teacher's desk. So it has to be good. It has to be impactful. It has to be meaningful. It has to make sense to us. It has to be. So it's not just work for the sake of doing work. It's work for a greater purpose.
It's been transformative. You see students now much more articulate in their argumentation. I mean, it can be challenging. The students are learning how to argue better, and they're able to argue their points better with the things they want, but I do think at the end it's a good thing. They're able to voice their opinions and kind of stand up for things they believe are right, they believe that they believe strongly in.
People do these tests mostly for the purpose of finding out their ethnicities and not for diseases. Some people do this to find out genetic mutations, but they would also know that they tell you this, that it's not always 100% correct.
Wouldn't you and your partner agree that commercial genetic companies are making money off of personal information that already belongs to consumers? Can you explain why companies should be able to make money off of this data instead of this data being provided as a right by a healthcare professional at birth? Thing is, not everyone has access.
Especially in middle school, as students are forming their identities and things are changing in their worlds, to be able to have their voices heard and to know that their voices matter is I think a real important thing for any school, especially for middle school. When we go to national tournaments and we're competing against these super affluent suburban and private schools, they might have more access to resources, and they might even have higher starting literacy rates. But what we have are lived experience around issues of equity and justice. We made it to 4th place in the country, and we're super proud of that, but we're even more proud of our kids using their voices to break barriers. Word generation helps give our students the academic language that helps make the arguments more persuasive and also gives them this regular experience. Like, why are we so good at debate? It's because our kids practice it regularly. We knew that debate would improve reading comprehension, but the amount that it does was pretty eye-opening. Our debaters who start on the lowest quartile had the biggest growth on the DRP. We would have kids that were potentially in need of a phonics class, but they wanted to be in the debate strategic reading class. And we would always say, if you have the desire to be on the debate team, it means you're going to be reading at home and practicing, in addition to spending 8 hours on a Saturday on text, engaged in rigorous dialogue. We would see kids make greater growth through debate than any other intervention that we've done. The data really speaks for itself. When I took over, our scores were 10% and 6%, and we're now at 47% proficiency in ELA and 40% and climbing to all the doubters out there, right? That was not a demographic change. This is same kids, same community, but with a laser focus on academic language, evidence-based argumentation, and critical analysis. It's really a big thing for our school community to be known for an activity, specifically a really highly rigorous academic and intellectual activity, especially following years of being on lists that made us feel bad about ourselves.
It has changed me in such a positive way. How can I say this? Just to see my students that come sometimes with basic reading skills, and just by the end of the year to see them reading fluently and with so much vocabulary that they have learned throughout the year.
It's rare in education to see the result of the work. You see the work that you're doing, like, oh wow, this is actually impacting hundreds of kids over the years.
I think it's an incredibly valuable thing to be able to add to your curriculum or program, because where a lot of curriculums don't provide enough opportunity for student voice and student choice and like to be able to voice their feelings, concerns, debate is a perfect platform for that. And it's really served well for our students to empower them to kind of use their voice and fight for change.
I'm very proud of him.
I'm proud, overwhelmed. Watching Eric grow is amazing, because now it's getting passed on down to his brothers and his sisters, and everybody want to debate, and everybody is playing basketball, football, some time for something different. And maybe he'll be able to open the door into politics when he get older.
I remember in 5th grade, me and some friends were interviewed for a debate, and on a live audience, I told them that I wanted to be the 2nd Black president of the United States of America.
I wanted to be a police officer, but just being able to do debate, it has allowed me to see a vast majority of topics, arguments, and I found out that I very much like doing debate. So it shifted my focus, and I want to be a member of the Supreme Court when I grow up.
A lot of the students come in with this passion and this fire for using their voice. And we celebrate students finding their voice at MS50 and finding new ways to use their voice. And so debate is that, in many ways, is that engine to drive that.
A lot of times, people are one-sided. So it gives them the opportunity to say, hey, well, let me take a look back and figure out, maybe this part is correct, or maybe we're both correct.
I think it opens their mind to the fact that the world is not black and white. There are always two sides of a story, and it's so important to have a critical view on both sides.
They're making sure that the students are seen and felt and heard. It speaks a lot to the children, and it gives them that confidence that they know that they're capable of achieving anything.